Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this to order this morning. I'm Mike Stanzilis, the mayor of Mount Arlington, the town that we're in right now. And today celebrates or memorializes a tragic anniversary in our town and in our communities. And that is the 7th anniversary of the tragic passing of Chris D'Amico Jr. in a boating accident here on the lake. And a law was written about that, and we'll talk a lot about that this morning. But so far, what we're going to have today is some opening comments by me. Chris D'Amico Sr. will speak, and Sheriff Gannon will speak. Senator Bucco will speak. Director Typhoon Solen, Morris County Commissioner Director, and the Mayor of Mine Hill. And so what does all this have to do, and why are they here together today, right? And we want to make sure that we get the word out that safety and common sense prevail, and we can avoid a lot of accidents. We've had 14 drownings in the state of New Jersey so far this summer. 2, right here in Mine Hill, 2 brothers tragically drowned, and Sam Morris, the mayor, will speak about that. Here in Mount Arlington, we've had 2 deaths from the tunnel of death, which is between the 2 pontoons on a pontoon boat. One, Chris D'Amico Jr., and then another one, young Mr. Gill, 3 years after that. So the common sense will prevail. These gentlemen will talk about what those measures mean and what they are. But one thing I do want to do is I want to thank the state police, and I want to thank the sheriff's department for all the boats that they're putting out on the lake to add more enforcement and more awareness so we don't have these tragedies ever again. I see the Coast Guard Auxiliary is here today. I want to thank you. We have more Sheriff's Department, Mount Arlington Police and Fire. So thank you all for being here. So I'm going to move along and bring in Chris D'Amico to talk a little bit about today.
Good morning. I'm Chris D'Amico Sr. On June 24, 2015, our son Christopher was killed in a tragic boating accident right here on Lake Hopatcong. Today marks 7 years. So I'm standing here with these fine gentlemen, Senator Bucco, Sheriff Gannon, Mount Arlington Mayor Stanzilis, to use our tragedy to make sure and ensure that no other further tragedies happen. Several months after our tragedy, we introduced Christopher's Law, which is one of the fastest pieces of legislation to get passed unanimously, that's both sides, in the state. It was introduced October 15 of 2015, and it was signed into law January of 2016. It was introduced by Senator Bucco and his late father, Senator Bucco. Unfortunately, since that time, several more tragedies have occurred. That's why, once again, today, along with these gentlemen, we're here to make sure that tragedies that have happened in my family do not happen to any other families, and that we take the lessons that we learn from these tragedies and put them into play. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Before we move on to Sheriff Gannon, I also want to recognize Mayor Francis Hopatcong, Mark Crowley of Roxbury. We have the Jefferson PD here, Nita Galati, Councilwoman from Mount Arlington. The 4 towns of the lake are here right now. I'd like to have a moment of silence for all those that have perished this year and in the past due to drownings and boating accidents. So if you wouldn't mind, we reserve a quick moment of silence. Thank you. And now it's my honor to introduce Sheriff James Gannon. Sheriff?
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning. It's great to see so many people out here today on what we believe is a very important day. Thank you for inviting me to be here, and thank you, Mr. D'Amico, Chris, for joining us. Words cannot convey enough about the loss you suffered. Yet having you with us today, adding your words to the important message we're sending to the community on water safety is simply invaluable. Thank you. I stand here surrounded by people who are dedicated to keeping our lakes and water resources safe for the enjoyment of everyone who come to places like Lake Hopatcong to spend their summer days. We have the New Jersey State Police Marine Bureau, the primary protectors and patrollers on this expansive lake. We have the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. Sir, we're very appreciative of all you do for us out on the lake, the meetings you attend, and your heart is in this like everyone else. We have the dedicated people in my office, the reconstituted Sheriff's Marine Unit, who are on the lake to augment the patrols of the state police and to assist local law enforcement. We have the Sheriff's Office Emergency Services Unit. That's here too for emergency rescues, those types of things, and we're appreciative of you. We work cooperatively to ensure a safe environment on and around Lake Hopatcong and to be there when people need help. But we're not a replacement for common sense. And that is what water safety is all about. It's about common sense. Patrols can work to slow down people speeding their boats on the lake. Patrols can stop and let people know when they are swimming in an unauthorized or dangerous location. If we see unlawful and dangerous activity, we can intervene. But is it possible for law enforcement to be there every time a person who cannot swim jumps in over their head? We would love to be there every time a person who has had too much to drink tries to start up a powerboat. But we know the reality is that's not going to happen. We could stop people boating without life vests. But people are safest when they know and respect the fact that they shouldn't be in the middle of the lake or even 10 yards from shore without that vest on. It's a big message. We wear our vests here near the water. If you fall and you hit your head, I don't care what type of swimmer you are, you're going to have a very difficult time, right? So we're big on that. Children are safest when their parents are closely monitoring them on a dock or wading in from a beach. People are safest when they take responsibility and follow simple, common sense safety rules. So today, the Morris County Sheriff's Office is here not only to say we are augmenting state patrols on Lake Hopatcong, we're here to reinforce the message that a safety on the water begins with all of you. We're very fortunate here. We have a lot of disciplines, police, fire, EMS. We have the state police. We have the sheriff's office. We have a lot of people in the community, elected officials, that are all on the same sheet of music with regards to this issue, and all work very, very difficult to keep this lake safe. We can't do it without the 4 municipalities on the water. We have representatives here from those locations. Jefferson's a big supporter of ours, and we're a big supporter of theirs. They have a lot of space here on the lake. So we're very appreciative for all of that. But it does begin with each and every one of us patrolling their own conduct, right? We can assist, obviously, and we're out here a lot, and the state police are out here a lot, and the Coast Guard Auxiliary is out here a lot. But we need people to patrol their own conduct, okay? And I just want to say to the D'Amico family that always know that young Christopher will always be on the boat with us. He'll be on the boat with us when we're out there every day, ensuring that people are safe here on the lake. God bless Christopher. God bless your family. I think that's a sign of true courage, Chris, when you're here with your family after such a tragedy. But good will come out of that. Good will come out of that. So God bless you all. Let's have fun this summer, but let's have a lot of safe fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Gannon. Before we move on, I'd like to also recognize the Lake Hopatcong Foundation for being here. Kyle and Stu Lassiter from the county parks. We couldn't do it without all of us as a team. Now it's my honor to bring up Senator Bucco. He'll talk about Christopher's Law. It's really a family, I feel, because him and his dad, the late Senator Bucco, put this law through, and they're part of our family here. So, Senator Bucco.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, sometimes out of a horrific tragedy comes hope, comes change, comes life. And that's exactly what happened following the tragic death of young Christopher. It brought the D'Amico family and my family together to make sure that the events that occurred on the lake 7 years ago would never occur again. And my father and I sat down with Chris and his family, and we put Christopher's Law together. And at first, people didn't understand what Christopher's Law meant. And I'll tell you why. Because people don't recognize how dangerous it is on the front of a pontoon boat. You heard the mayor say tunnel of death. You don't realize it when you're looking at that boat. What happens if that boat is in motion, even in the slowest possible gear, and somebody falls off the front of that boat? It is impossible to get yourself out from those pontoons before you are tragically sucked into the propellers. And folks come up on the lake every weekend and during the week, and they rent these boats. And no one was warning them about this potential danger. Christopher's Law changed that. Christopher's Law changed that. And I am absolutely certain that the instruction that people receive now when they take those beautiful boats out onto a beautiful lake to enjoy a beautiful day like today are now aware of the potential danger that can happen and change your life in seconds. I spend a lot of time up here on the lake with the mayors, with the sheriff's office, with the state police, to make sure that beautiful days like today don't end up like sad ones. And for those that come here, we're heading into the first weekend of summer, and this lake is going to get crowded. And people are going to want to have a lot of fun out on that lake. And it's our responsibility to make sure that it's done safely and that people can enjoy the lake in a reasonable and safe manner. And my hat goes off to the first responders, the sheriff's office, the state police, and all the folks that are out there. And it is a community. It's the entire community. It's the municipalities that front the lake. It's the first responders that are here. It's the Lake Hopatcong Commission and the foundation. It's the families. It's everybody working together to make sure that you can enjoy this lake in a safe fashion. And I would encourage everyone, if you're out there on the lake and you see something and you look and it looks to you like it's not quite right, or you think somebody maybe is doing something they shouldn't be doing, pick up the phone. Pick up the phone, call the state police number, call the sheriff's office, make a phone call. Because it only takes a second to change your life forever. It's a beautiful day. You all see it, you feel it, and that's why people come here. But today's mission is to educate folks and to get the message out that you can enjoy this lake, but you have to be careful and you have to be safe. Because the drownings that have occurred around the state of New Jersey already this year are evidence of just how quickly your life can change. So enjoy this lake, come up here, visit our restaurants and our businesses, but be safe. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, Senator Bucco. We also, before we bring up the next speaker, I'd like to recognize the Lake Hopatcong Commission. Colleen Lyons, Ron Smith, thank you for being here today and your continued support. Now, I'd like to introduce Morris County Commissioner Director Typhoon Solen And he's just going to go on about really the common sense aspect of how we can prevent these tragedies.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I wish we could be here under better circumstances today. We should just be enjoying this great lake and what promises to be a beautiful, beautiful day. Morris County, after all, is known as the Lakeland area. Our lakes, and especially Lake Hopatcong, are a huge attraction every summer. Unfortunately, our season in the sun is too often marred by tragedy. I thank you, Mr. D'Amico, for having the courage to share your story and help us understand the importance of safety and education to avoid tragedies on the water. Your words reach into the hearts of every parent. New Jersey has already lost 14 people to drownings, all before the official start of summer last Tuesday. About half of those victims were under 25 years old. Saddest yet is that many of the deaths were preventable. Some did not know the waters or hazards where they had waded in, and others could not swim. Most were just having fun, not paying attention. That also is the overwhelming cause of boating accidents. Sometimes operators are so busy having a good time, and they're not watching where they're going. Others are drunk or under the influence of drugs. There's nothing wrong with having a good time. That is why we come to the water. But we must never forget how easily fun turns into a tragedy when we ignore basic safety rules on the water. Some are just simple. Learn to swim. Supervise children near water. Wear life jackets when boating. Know the hazards of the area where you're swimming or boating. Are there strong currents? Are there rocks where you are diving or boating? Don't swim or boat while drunk or on drugs. And don't go it alone. The water is much more fun with friends. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Let's have a much safer summer this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Solen. I'm going to bring up Mine Hill Mayor Sam Morris. And, 7 years ago, when you're an elected official, you sign up for the good, the bad, the sad, the tragedies, the happy parts. I sat at a kitchen table of a bereaved mother and father, the D'Amicos, the tragic loss of their son. 3 years later, I'm at another kitchen table with Mrs. Gill. And now Sam Morris, the mayor of Mine Hill, is part of this sad and tragic little club that we sign up for. So Sam, he's had 2 drownings last week of 2 brothers.
Thanks, Mike. When Brian Murray called me to ask me to come over today, the first thing I went through my head was, no way. Had enough of this. But you have to, right? With all these officers, all the first responders, the elected officials, it's part of, you don't think about it when you run for office, but it's part of our job, right? Prevention. The 2 residents that passed away were a boy 22 and a 17-year-old male from Roxbury. They just went down to the backside of the lake to splash around and have a little fun with their cousins. And what they didn't realize is, one, what everybody should know is they couldn't swim, but they were just waiting. But what they didn't understand was all of these lakes, whether it's Hopatcong or these sand pits like our lake or these small glacial lakes that are all over North Jersey, are treacherous. They waded out a certain distance and fell right in the water. And they walked off the first one walked off a 22-foot drop. I'm gonna call it a cliff, but it's an underwater cliff. Dropped right off, couldn't swim. His brother went in after him, he couldn't swim. The third cousin, young man, I think 15, started to, and the other cousin stopped him. And I don't think they went in once and they were never seen again. I don't think that the people understand how treacherous, obviously the water, because you drown in it, but they don't understand what's under it. They don't understand that you can just step off a spot and you're instantly in 15, 18 feet of water. They don't understand that there's the growth underneath the plants that are very sticky, and they get wrapped around your feet and wrapped around your legs. We have that at our beach. We have to, and I know they do it up here in Hopatcong. I know Mike has to do a lot of it, and Mike, the other Mike too. They have to go in and take out the vegetation for a lot of reasons, but part of it's everything gets caught in it, and once that stuff gets a hold of you, it's no good. But we always have an interesting relationship with the press, right? But this is one of those wonderful times where the press is our best friend, and it's everybody's best friend. They're part of this team, because what I want to ask the press to do is help us scare these people. They have to understand, and their families have to understand, that this is not a game. Kids think they're invincible. I gave this speech last week at Dover High School. They think they're invincible. They think they're going to live till they're 1,000 years old, right? We were all like that when we were 16 and 18 and 21, but it's not the truth. And I just would ask family members, if you get this, repost it. Talk to your kids. Scare your kids. Scare them. Don't even think about being polite. Sit them down and say, do you see what happened here? I don't want this funeral in my house. I don't want to have to bury a pair of brothers, right? And it's my hope that we can get through to the younger people on just understanding the risk and just understanding what they need to do, okay? And as Mike and Tayfun's and Jimmy spoke about, to the people that are a little older and should know better, stay away from the things you shouldn't be doing. If you're out on the lake and you're out on the water, have a great time, but leave the beer in the cooler, because that's a whole other aspect of this. Mine Hill and Roxbury had a real tragedy last week. 2 young men gone, never coming back, and it could have all been prevented if they had just heeded some caution, read the signs that were posted everywhere to not swim and not go near the water. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for this. I want to thank Brian and Mike for putting this together, and hopefully, just these few minutes we're all spending here will save a life. That's the goal. Okay, thank you guys.
So I want to thank everybody. We're going to close out now, but Sam is right. We need the help of the media to get the word out. We can talk amongst ourselves, but to get the word out of common sense, and it's just really about awareness and common sense. Today, the weather is awfully reminiscent of the weather 7 years ago today. So I'm going to ask Chris D'Amico just to close us out, Chris, and thank you all so much for everything you do.
It was a beautiful June day, just like today. That day, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. And in an instant, my family's life was changed forever. He should have been 17. He should have had his license. He should have went to junior prom. He should be playing football in his senior year, going into his senior year in high school. Five seconds. That's all it took to change my life forever and my family's life forever. If we're here today to prevent that from happening to another family, then our mission is accomplished. I'd like to thank everybody here today who helped us put this little presser together. Mine Hill Mayor was absolutely correct. Proceed with caution. Be afraid. Pontoon boats look like a lot of fun. Their nicknames are a party boat. somebody falls off the front, there's nothing you can do. That's why they call it the tunnel of death. 5 seconds. Change your life forever. Thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. And that concludes our presser today. Thank you all for being here.